Hello, I'm Artemis Griffey. I am a queer individual, and I live currently in Florence, Alabama. And there's a lot of things about this town that I like, but queer acceptance isn't exactly the best here. So, in this documentary, I decided to take a look at things going around, things happening, what people think we should do to improve the queer scene, but also putting it through a thematic lens. Mainly just because my entire life is movies, essentially. I'm a filmmaker, and everything I do is, you know, in some way brought back to film. And I thought that it'd be really interesting to take different films from the past, explore why specifically these movies and these characters might have put certain ideas and images in people's heads of the queer community or anything of that sort, and then kind of bring them back into the Florence scene and see, okay, we're having these issues, and I think it might stem from this, and it probably stems from this over here, and also a little bit of this, and how do we deal with it? How do we, take this and essentially get better?
It's interesting. It's present, but scattered. A lot of it like falls into like click territory, and like it moves based on like economic status, socio-political views, etc., etc., etc. But overall, there's a lot of us here. We're just in different areas.
Florence is better compared to a lot of places. However, you're still in the South. You're still in the Bible Belt. It's still not that great for queer people.
I don't know much about the queer scene of Florence, Alabama. I know the queer scene in UNA and the theater, and it's pretty cool. I'd say a lot of us are pretty queer. Even in the film section, which you think it would be mostly the theater kids, but there's a lot of film queers out there.
The way I found out I was queer, I was in the locker room in sixth grade. There was this goth girl, and I thought she was really pretty, and I had never felt like that towards another. Like at the time, I identified as a woman, and I was like, "Whoa, that's so cool!" And so I tried to like talk to her, and as we were going back into the locker room one day, she was just like shooting the shit, I guess. And she looks at the clock and she points at it and she's like, "It's 1:01 because it's 11." And so I was like, "Oh my god, I gotta match her vibe." And so I went, "It's 2:02." But I was raised in like a hyper religious household, and my mom never said vagina. She said tootie. So I thought I told this girl vagina 2:00. So I ran into the bathroom and sobbed really loudly and never spoke to her again. And that's how I figured out I was gay.
Being queer just to me just means being my authentic self because I don't know, that's pretty much it to me.
It was like freshman year of college. I found out I was non-binary. I guess basically the second I realized what non-binary was, like I never liked being a girl, but I didn't want to be a dude. Um, so that's sorry, I'm like, bleh. But so yeah, I basically the second I found out what non-binary was, I was like, yeah, that's me. Finding out I was gay was a little bit more dramatic. It happened my second semester of freshman year, and I had run into the girl who was previously the president, the class president of my graduating class in high school, and she was really nice. And we got each other's Snapchat to keep in touch, and she sent me a Snapchat, and I just remember being like, "Oh my God, she's so pretty," and then realizing that I wanted to kiss her. And then the next time I saw her, she talked about her fiance that God sent for her. So that love story kind of ended pretty quickly.
It does affect like your ability to socialize, to make friends, because it makes it harder. Not a lot of people are willing to like be seen with a trans person or like a gay person, unless it benefits them with like the gay best friend stuff, which is weird. But you can find your people, you will.
I am openly queer on campus. I haven't noticed any negative impacts from with my instructors. They will, of course, call me by my preferred name with my preferred pronouns. I have noticed from other students who have zero idea who I am, just know that I exist as a queer person, and will just like look at me with like snarls on their faces It's like I'm glad they're not coming up to me and doing anything, but I've noticed that they'll like quietly judge me. And they're probably is like, I don't know. It's strange.
Realistically, you're not safe here. You're not safe at the border. You're not safe down south. You're not safe in the north. You're not safe here. We are very much still in a political climate where you can and will be lynched. So you have to be very careful with who you're out to and like what you say in public.
Queer individuals can be seen a long time ago back in film, not in any, not in any way similar to now, or even from like the 90s forward. I have this specific point in time where it's 1980s and 1990s. 1990s is when we get Philadelphia and other films that kind of help, actually give us queer stories that don't make fun of queer individuals. And then we have the 80s. When I think 80s queer individuals, I think Lamar from Revenge of the Nerds.
Wait till you see Lamar's throw.
How come?
Worms is a master at aerodynamics, and he designed the javelin to go along with Lamar's limp-wristed throwing style.
Definitely. I think bad stereotypes can really like affect people's perceptions.
Lamar is a stereotype, right? And if you've seen the movie, you know exactly what I'm talking about. They make fun of Lamar a few times in the movie because he's gay.
Hey, have any of you guys got dates besides Gilbert?
I do. Yeah, but that's with a guy.
And it's not really funny. It's not funny at all. But I feel like 1980s back, it's a lot more difficult to have positive queer storylines.
But, there's a lot of tropes like, the bury your gays trope, the queer people can only be villains trope. It does kind of affect people's view of the queer community because that may be the only representation they see.
In the 1930s, 1934 specifically, a movie named Wonder Bar released. And Wonder Bar has this joke on the little dance floor where essentially this guy comes in and he's like, "May I cut in?" And the woman's like, "Sure." And then he dances with the guy. And the guy in the background goes, "Boys will be boys."
May I cut in?
Why, certainly.
Boys will be boys.
Woo!
And essentially, my whole thing about that is it's representation, not necessarily in a good way, more in a negative way. But at the time, even negative representation was seen, like representation at all, was seen as something awful for queer people, specifically for homosexuals. Because think about it this way: Glenn or Glinda had not come out yet. That was like, years away from happening. And that film found controversy, right? Ed Wood was under a lot of controversy for that film. But with Wonder Bar, it caused so much controversy. These little moments of just admitting the fact that we as queer individuals exist could get films banned or could get their specific scenes cut out. And that was just crazy.
Well, I feel a lot safer here than I did back at home. I am, of course, from the Mississippi area. I used to go to Itawamba Community College. Comparing how I was at ICC to now at UNA in Florence, I do feel safer, but not as safe as I could be as a queer individual in the South.
I definitely feel safer than in the other areas I've lived in. I mean, I come from rural Mississippi, so like the bar was pretty much on the floor before. I don't know if that will change once I like leave the college hemisphere of Florence, Alabama, but within like the college like sphere, I feel very safe as a queer person.
I'll compare it to a place like Colorado. I lived in Colorado very briefly my senior year of high school. It is very normalized up there. I wouldn't say encouraged, but like no one will call you a slur in Colorado because everyone will go after someone who uses slurs in Colorado. Whereas here, it's like, it's still very funny. It's still very taboo. People still do the, "Oh, that's gay" as like an adjective thing. I think adjective's the correct word. They'll still throw it around a lot. Here, I'd say probably half of the campus is like someone that you can't come out to. And the other half is, and then 20%, 25 or less percent of the people that you can come out to are actually going to be like good about it, because some people, they want like that gay best friend, or they want someone who to like go out to the bars with them and stuff like that, but it's not genuinely like they don't care about who you are, your authentic self. It's the role that you play for them. But you can find really good people here. Once again, they're just kind of like hidden around the place.
I mean, I think I've seen a good bit of both queer love and queer hate. I've seen queer hate a lot more vocalized compared to queer love. It's very confusing, but it's good how I see a lot of the love try and get drowned out the queer hate. It's a lot of 50-50 going back and forth from what I've seen.
A film I know multiple people around the Florence area have seen just due to me talking about it and hearing other people's opinions, or specifically just because it's a film that almost everybody has seen. And if you haven't seen Some Like It Hot, then what are you doing? Go see it. It's a classic. And I do think that it's a good movie. It's a good movie. But it is outdated in certain ways. And I feel like a lot of people grab onto that movie, specifically older Southern people who have seen that movie. They grab onto it and they say, you know, Tony Curtis, Jack Lemmon, in drag. They're in drag. That's what drag is. That's what a trans woman is, which isn't the truth. Now, sure, it is drag. It's drag, right? But drag has no confines. You don't say, this is what drag is, this is what it's not. There's no specific rules for drag. And I feel as if so many people have seen this movie and just think they have an idea in their heads of like, this is what it is, which isn't the case. And the most interesting part is, of course, that final scene.
I'm a man. Well, nobody's perfect.
Having Jack Lemmon and Joey Brown, their characters in that boat, and the whole thing of like, hey, I can't marry you, I'm a man. And then Joey Brown saying, that's fine, nobody's perfect. That, although a joke, is revolutionary, was absolutely revolutionary. And I have asked people down here specifically in Florence, Alabama, because I've talked about this movie a lot. It's in my top 200-ish favorite movies, and I talk about movies all the time wherever I go. So I'll be in a restaurant, or I'll be in a bar, or I'll be in other areas, and I'll be like, hey, Some Like It Hot, you know? Because when I'm talking to older people, I like to kind of talk about black and white films, maybe a few color films, like Lawrence of Arabia and stuff like that. But like, I like to talk about older films that I know that they've probably seen and probably have like experiences with. And it always gets whittled down to, it's funny because it's making fun of homosexuality. And although revolutionary, I do feel like it is, you know, subject matter, not the best way to approach that. But still, it's revolutionary. And I feel as if it caused a lot of disturbance, which is a good thing, right? A good thing. We need these steps progressively to get bigger and bigger, to where now there's openly gay characters in a lot of media, and it's fantastic.
I haven't been here long enough to know, but so far, it's mixed. It's very mixed. There's some love and there's some awkwardness between it, but overall, it's just in the middle, I would say.
I have a story that I'm very fond of, specifically because it involves an older white man. And see, the thing is, there is hate amongst everybody, but specifically older white people are kind of where a lot of the hate comes from specifically, for reasons that you might, you know, think of. But one of my favorite memories was I was talking to a man around the Florence area about Ben-Hur, because I was in the Walmart here and I was getting a copy of Ben-Hur on Blu-ray, because, you know, there's a 4K copy coming out, but it's gonna be like $40. And anyway, getting back to the story, I was getting this copy of Ben-Hur, and we were talking about it, and he was talking about how it's like real men stuff. Real men stuff. Real men stuff. What does that even mean? But what he is obviously lacking up here is just the insight to know that Ben-Hur and Masala in that movie were written, and maybe less written, more intended when they got to shooting, when they got to actually shooting, and they were directed as if they were lovers.
With all my heart.
all these people around this area who have seen Ben-Hur, specifically that one guy in that Walmart, and if you see this, I'm talking to you, they think Ben-Hur, yeah, that's a straight movie. It's a very straight movie. You know? No, not at all. Not at all. Ben-Hur is some of the gayest shit I've ever seen in my life. And I love Ben-Hur, but it's gay.
But like in Florence in general, I'm very much afraid to like get shot or like get hate crimes. Me and a couple of friends went out to, I think it was the Ren Fair, and we were just standing there. Like we were just standing there. Nothing about us. We weren't like acting out. We weren't like dancing or filming a TikTok. We were just sitting there, standing. So, well, one person was sitting, one person was all that. And someone threw like a bottle rocket at us, and it exploded at our feet, and everyone like jumped. Some people fell over, and they just ran laughing. And so it paints this picture of like, yeah, that you maybe not want to go out a lot, or at least not to places you don't know or like fully, you know? You don't want to run into the wrong person and then, you know, you don't notice they're following you home and now you're on a list and you're unsafe, because there absolutely are things in the area that are not safe. Yeah.
I haven't interacted with the queer scene in Florence as much as I wish I could, but I know there's stuff like they have drag shows in the lava room. That's about most I know. There's not a whole lot.
I think it's wrong inherently in every sense. There is no place to quote unquote belong. Of course, there are like socio-political forces that play into it, but everyone belongs everywhere. And this idea that like the lava room shouldn't have drag races, or like there shouldn't be like LGBTQ presence on campus is really stupid, because we're always going to exist, and putting a blanket over it isn't going to make us go away. And it's ultimately not harming anyone. Like when they think of drag queens, especially in like media nowadays, it's very demonized. I have never ever felt unsafe with a drag queen, but I have felt unsafe on campus. I have felt unsafe in class, in church, in representative areas here. Like statistically, you're safer with a drag queen, and there's not like a lot of it's unfounded and comes from years and years of generational trauma, bias, religious input. And like even then, when I'm saying like religious input, it's very much those people that cherry pick. Because I've met people who are like hardcore Christians, but they believe it in the way that when God said, you know, love your neighbor, he meant that. And so they like it's trivial to them what descriptors you fall into, and they're going to love you regardless. Whereas some people, it's like, I'm gonna follow the hateful speech and not the don't wear mixed fabrics and don't sleep with your husband in the same bed on Sunday and like don't eat shellfish and all of that. So.
It's just not fair. Like, we're human. We're supposed to get along with each other no matter what we're doing. We just need to show love and just show the support.
So now we get to some of my favorite movies. Now, specifically the works of John Waters. I love John Waters, and I also love Divine.
Could you give us some of your political beliefs?
Kill everyone now. Condone first-degree murder. Advocate cannibalism. Eat shit. Filth are my politics. Filth is my life. Take whatever you like.
Yes.
And I'll say one thing. I just want to clear the air. There is no boundaries to drag. You can't do drag wrong. Drag is what you want it to be. There are no rules. So you can have Divine, who's filthy and disgusting and fantastic. Or you can be more prim and proper, or you can be any level in between. There's no specific boundaries or rules or guide set.
It's Sam Phillipson, proud ally of your main attraction tonight, Lydia Lavish.
Alright, bitches, listen up. I have 12 inches of colon, plenty of rubbers, and let's just get freaky. Right? And that's what people don't understand. So when the lava room down here in Florence, Alabama was having drag shows, I saw some Facebook posts specifically being like, oh, you know, this is awful. Why are they doing drag shows in the Florence area? And I'm like, first of all, that's bullshit.
I feel like they have zero understanding exactly what drag shows entail, who people who perform in drag are. I feel like it comes from a lot of just them not knowing what exactly drag is, so they're just blinded by hate when they do all this. And they need to be informed. That's what I think.
I think old white people should die. Sorry, I'll like. It's so fucking stupid. It's like, how many fucking bars are in Florence, Alabama? And we have one, it's not even technically a gay bar. It's just it's a gay bar, but it's a gay bar, but it's not a gay bar. Like, I just go to another fucking bar, man. It's not that hard.
Drag has been a thing for so long, and drag is done practically everywhere. But also, saying that, like, here's my thing. If you watch a John Waters movie, and specifically one with Divine in it, you want the filth. You want the filth. I love the filth. I do. I honestly do. If you go to a drag show, it just depends on who's performing, but the Lava Room drag shows I've been to have been fantastic. Everyone's been kind. Everyone's been great. The kings and queens are so nice. So nice. And people just don't understand because they've never tried. They've never gone out to a drag show. And if they actually did go out to a drag show, if y'all went out to a drag show, y'all would understand how sweet and how amazing they are. And it's just something that I feel like there's such a misconception about, specifically in areas like Florence, but also the Shoals and also just Alabama as a whole, Mississippi too. These areas, people just don't understand it. And they really should.
As a straight white ally, I would say just be respectful. Like, just being a human is just showing respect and showing love to other people. And if we show that to anybody, doesn't matter what they are, it brings us together, and it just shows the respect and the human that we really are.
Things changed in 1993 with the release of Philadelphia. With the AIDS crisis going on, the queer community was not in a good spot at all. Things had been made so much worse. But Philadelphia kind of changed things around. Tom Hanks in the film plays Andrew Beckett, and he has AIDS.
How are you? What happened to your face?
I have AIDS.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And specifically, that performance and that film alone, from different accounts I've seen, changed people's minds about not only just the AIDS crisis in general, but also the queer community itself. Because it's a very powerful film, but also it opened the door to where now queer characters are just everywhere, and it's fantastic. For example, I mean, in between today and then, we had things like Tu Wong Fu.
All right, you are a drag princess.
I could live with that.
But I'm a Cheerleader, and a couple other films that kind of filled that gap. But now, for example, two films of recent times that I can remember, Love Lies Bleeding and Bottoms, were both fantastic films.
Our first pose is a double front bicep. Super strong and confident, relaxed, right?
You look like a little Dutch boy. Thank you. So, Brit, can I call you Brit? I'd prefer if you just called me my name. Brittany. No, not that.
And I feel like Philadelphia, given its power, given its strength, kind of opened the door for just that to happen. Because it's kind of difficult. It's kind of difficult to change people's minds. But it can happen. Change can happen. And the power of film specifically is one of the things that can help change. Using film, having characters in film, can help us change, can help people change their mindsets, can help things change in general. And it's just a powerful medium.
Especially like in recent times, like seeing such good representation, like it really humanizes people. Like in recent memory, I'm thinking of like Our Flag Means Death had a really good non-binary representation, and it really just normalized and humanized like non-binary people. And the Owl House also helped like just normalize it. Like I love representation where a character's arc isn't around the fact that they're queer, they're just queer and everyone around them accepts it, and it's not like a plot device or anything like that. It's just how the character is. Yeah, no, there's so many great like non-canon queer ships that I love. Like you have Agent Stone and Dr. Robotnik. Like no one can tell me that they're not in love. You have Garrett and the Garbage Man and Steve from the Minecraft movie. Like they literally 69 in that movie. Like there is so much sexual chemistry and it's amazing.
Oh, con Dios. It means goodbye, brother.
No, it doesn't.
Don't look at her. It does.
All right, so Stobotnik is a queer ship. It's not canon, but it's really blown up since like the third Sonic movie. And it's a ship between Agent Stone and Dr. Robotnik. Now it's really interesting because Agent Stone is like one of the few original characters to the Sonic movies. Most of the other characters are from like other, Sonic iterations. But basically, Agent Stone is Dr. Robotnik's henchman, and he's really loyal to him, and he loves him. And it's like, it's not canon. It's in a liminal space where, like, it's not canon, but, like, it's as canon as you can get. The line between queer baiting and queer coding is, like, pretty blurry, but I digress. Anyway, so, like, Agent Stone is shown to have this obsession and just infatuation with Dr. Robotnik. Like even okay, spoilers for the Sonic movies, obviously. But like after Stobotnik dies the first time, like Agent Stone obsesses over him and misses him and has a complete layer built up for the eventual in case he comes back. All right. And then at the end, like my favorite Stobotnik moment is at the end where Stobotnik is literally dying to save the world because there's one person in the world that he gives a shit about, and that's Agent Stone. And Agent Stone is just on the ground being like, "Doctor, don't do this." And then Stobotnik is like, "Goodbye to the one person that ever gave a damn about me and was ever worth giving a damn about. I'll miss your goat lattes. I love the way you make them."
I'll miss your lattes with steamed Austrian goat milk. I love the way you make them.
And then he blows up. And that is, if that's not the greatest gay love story, I don't know what is.
Florence, Alabama isn't the worst place to be for the queer community. It's here. There are drag shows. There are, certain events. Yeah, there is a queer community here, but it's not as prevalent as one might hope. And there are a lot of people in this area who do still hold those old values. And it's kind of because we're more in the area where that's more common, but it's also just because there are people down here that are capable of change, but they won't accept the fact that they can change, and they should change. Because I just feel like we're at a point now where change should have already happened. We have been here. The queer community has been here for so long. And the fact that people are still fighting for acceptance is absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. And I just want to say, all of these people who are just spreading hate and, not actually, spreading love and compassion are the same kind of people who need to change. And be it through stereotypes in film, the way they were raised, other things about them that got them to make them how they are, I just feel like change is necessary and change should happen. And it's up to everyone to help try and spread love and spread change.
I don't know how, because of course it depends on person to person. When it comes to everything such as the hate speech and crimes, the most we can do as queer individuals is inform them of because they're probably misinformed, they're probably just full of hatred. There's only so much we can do as individuals ourselves before they themselves can start working on their own internalized hate and whatnot. So it's honestly don't know.
Almost every single form of ignorance comes from like inside. And whether that's like their parents taught them to be that way, they don't actually understand what they're saying, or they had a bad experience that has painted them into like this very scornful, sour person, or really anything. There are so many things that can make something somewhat hateful, but that's just it. They didn't come into this world hateful. No one like comes out of their mother's womb and is like, I need to burn a pride flag. Like they don't even know how to move their thumbs yet. It's all taught. So logically, if you could teach someone to be hateful, you can unteach it. But a lot of that, the overlap is you can teach them, but you can't force them. You have to empower them in a way to break free from whatever made them that way and allow them to make a choice. And that's not always going to end the way you want it, because some people, they just find comfort in their hate, and that's fine. But some people you really can't change for the better, and you just have to be present, be patient, answer their questions. A lot of it's just being there, because they have this idea of you in your head, and it's not real. Not every trans person is a stereotype. Not every gay person is a gay best friend. All they have to do is just visually see it, and that's already a change. That's just a slow process, but it happens.
I think some people can. I think more often than not, a lot of people choose not to. Yeah, I mean, I think so. I'm just not super confident that a lot of people want to.
I think they can. I really do. Because if we show respect in that way and not make it a joking way, I feel like people can open up and actually show the respect that is needed to be.
The queer community is so filled with love and extremely open. And I feel like we need to take these outdated, hateful ideas, get rid of them, and just come together, shake hands, and say, hey, we're all here. We all belong here. This is such a community-based area, and we all belong. And it's so simple and so easy. And I just feel like that would bring so much peace and spread a lot of love.